Hi and welcome back to Slovakia, one of the less known places in Europe. But it's at the same time also amongst the most affordable countries in Europe. So if you like countries with less tourists and are ready to travel off the beaten path, this travel video is for you. Today we will go on a tour through central Slovakia, one of the most beautiful regions of Slovakia and an area known for its hills and epic mountains. We will visit the famous Bojnice Castle that seems to come directly out of a fairy tale. And we will check out the beautiful historic mining town of Banská Štiavnica with the breathtaking view of a Calvary that oversees the valley shaped by an extinct volcano. From there, we will head over to Banska Bystrica, where we end our day trip with a war monument turned museum that commemorates the uprising of the Slovak resistance in World War II and a beautiful view of a historic wooden church that is built without a single nail. So there's lots to see and discover today. Let's get started right away. We start our little tour in Bojnice. Bojnice is a historical town in central Slovakia at the upper Nitra river near the city of Prievidza. It's a 2-hour drive away from Bratislava and is best known for its main tourist attraction, the most visited castle in all of Slovakia, Bojnice Castle. Bojnice Castle, also known as Castle of Spirits, stands out due to its fairy tale-like design. No wonder it has been featured in numerous fantasy and fairy tale movies. Bojnice Castle is a Romanesque castle with some original Gothic and Renaissance elements built in the 12th century. First mentioned in written records in 1113, it was later owned by King Matthias Corvinus, who ruled in the 15th century and used to dictate his royal decrees under a linden tree, which is now known as the linden tree of King Matthias and can still be visited today. Later, the castle was renovated by the Palffy family, which ended up giving the castle its current romantic design. As a fun fact, the castle was even in the possession of the Czech entrepreneur Jan Antonín Bata, the owner of the world-famous shoe company Bata, before the castle got confiscated by the Czechoslovak government in 1945. Today, the castle hosts the single most popular museum in Slovakia, and I highly recommend to take the tour, which will take you on a journey of over 700 years of history with lots of interesting artifacts on display. Let's take the beautiful drive across central Slovakia to one of the next highlights of any Slovakia travel, a visit to the historic mining town Banská Štiavnica. Beautiful sunny day today, and we're going to check out this beautiful town. It's said to be the most beautiful town in all of Slovakia. Let's check that out. Banská Štiavnica features not only one but two castles. Lots of historic buildings, a beautiful Calvary, a dramatic landscape, and it's not overcrowded with tourists. It is also absolutely picturesque and likely wins the status of prettiest town in Slovakia. Banská Štiavnica is the oldest mining town in Slovakia and has thrived off the industry for over 1,000 years. Mining has been the primary industry of the town and region going back as far as the times of the ancient Celts. It later became the main source of gold and silver for the medieval Kingdom of Hungary. The town even formed the very first mining and forestry academy in Europe in 1762. The mining heritage is a large part of why UNESCO granted the town World Heritage status in 1993. No doubt, the town's mining history is responsible for the beautiful architecture you can still see everywhere today. A great starting point for any visit is the main street. This long and narrow street is lined with elegant buildings on both sides. Some give off more of a medieval vibe, while others look like some noble residences you'd find in Vienna, Prague or Budapest. While it's a bit of an uphill walk, the way the winding road reveals more and more of the pretty town is an adventure in itself. It will take you quite a bit of time, as you will stop every few seconds to take pictures. The tastefully decorated cafes and restaurants invite for a quick pause before venturing on further up the street. Following the main street, you'll eventually see the tower of the Church of St. Catherine in front of you. Enclosed by roads, the church sits on a little island. It was built in the 15th century, which explains its Gothic design. Just up from the Church of St. Catherine, you'll find the closest thing there is to a main square with the Holy Trinity Square. In addition to the many beautiful historic townhouses that frame the square, you cannot overlook the massive Holy Trinity plaque column that was built to commemorate a devastating plague from the 18th century. The square also hosts the town's tourist information office, and you will see the unique love-themed colored sculptures that will accompany you throughout your visit of Banská Štiavnica. They relate to the Slovakian romantic poem Marina. The subject of the poem, Marina Pišľová, lived in Banská Štiavnica. Let's take the little staircase up from the town hall to one of the many highlights of our tour, the old castle. One of the surprising things I learned when stepping inside the castle walls is that originally it wasn't a castle at all. The Romanesque Church of the Virgin Mary was the first thing built here in the 13th century, with a small cemetery off to the side. It wasn't until after the Ottoman invasion began in the 16th century that the church was transformed into a fortress. Once that particular threat died down, the church turned castle served various purposes, from an archive to library and even a prison. Make sure to go on a tour of the outer walls and fortification towers, which offer great perspective of this unique place. As already mentioned, the tiny town of Banská Štiavnica doesn't only have one but two castles. Let's head up to another hill that sits across from the old castle. This one is crowned by the new castle. The new castle was built in 1564 and is one of the easiest sights to see as it watches over town. The most interesting thing about this castle is the legend surrounding its creation. The story goes that the castle was founded by a wealthy but arrogant local heiress. She had a reputation for wild parties in town, much to the chagrin of the citizens, who erected gallows below her window as a not-too-subtle message. As a result, she used some of her family fortune to build a new castle under the pretense that it was to defend the town against the Turkish forces. Her only condition for helping the town was that she chose the castle's location. And so she chose the hill where she could no longer see the gallows as she resumed her party lifestyle. The legend ends that she went on to waste the family fortune and ended up a poor woman. Quite a story, right? Let's head to the final highlight of Banská Štiavnica, the stunning Banská Štiavnica Calvary. You'll find Calvaries all throughout Slovakia, but this one might be the prettiest one. The Calvary sits on a more distant hill, a bit outside town. It is still in walking distance, but going there by car doesn't hurt. You will have to do a bit of walking up the steep hill, but you get rewarded by the symmetrical positioned midway Baroque chapels and the many stations of the cross. I love the colorful wild vegetation along the way. The highlight of the visit is of course the chapel at the very top, which offers beautiful views of the scenery around Banská Štiavnica. Let's head to our next stop, Banska Bystrica. Yes, it's another town that starts with Banska, but Banská Bystrica is quite different from Banská Štiavnica. First, it's much larger. With a population of 76,000, Banská Bystrica is the sixth most populous municipality in Slovakia. From the outside, it looks more like a busy industrial town with a motorway going right through it, but it does have a pretty historic center. We will, however, focus on one of the interesting more recent architectural highlights, the Museum of the Slovak National Uprising. This museum acts as an important memorial while also featuring a collection of weapons and other military pieces, including an open-air exhibition of World War II heavy weapons. The Slovak National Uprising, in Slovak they call it Slovenské národné povstanie, and it's usually abbreviated SNP, was an armored insurrection organized by the Slovak resistance movement during World War II. This resistance movement was represented mainly by the members of the Democratic Party, but also by Social Democrats and Communists. It was launched in August of 1944 from Banská Bystrica in an attempt to resist German troops that had occupied Slovak territory and to overthrow the collaborationist government of Joseph Tiso. Although the resistance was largely defeated by German forces, guerrilla operations continued until the Red Army, Czechoslovak Army and Romanian Army liberated fascist Slovakia in 1945. Let's head to our last visit of the day, just outside Banská Bystrica on the way to Zvolen in the small village of Hronsek. The articular wooden church of Hronsek is a must-see when in the area. This Protestant church was built in 1725 as a concession by the then Catholic king. The condition was that it had to be built from wood, contain no nails or metal, could not have a large bell tower, needed to be completed within 1 year, and the entrance was not allowed to face the street. The places which were given to Protestants to build their places of worship were either difficult to reach or next to a river, like this one, hoping that a flood would destroy the church building. But this plan clearly didn't work with this church. The structure looks astonishingly sound, and it's a true masterpiece of wood carpenter craftsmanship. The church seats 1,100 congregants, and the interior is supposed to be quite beautiful. But you will need to make an appointment for visiting, as the lady who can open the church to visitors is not always around. Since I came in the late afternoon, I just enjoyed the church from the outside, walking below the beautiful lipa trees, the national tree of Slovakia. Well, this concludes my little tour through central Slovakia. I hope you enjoyed the Slovakia travel video and my trip to Bojnice, Banská Štiavnica and Banská Bystrica. If you did, please also check out my other travel videos on beautiful Slovakia and many other amazing travel destinations. And leave me a like and a comment down below. And if you haven't done so yet, please subscribe to my channel and I look forward to seeing you in my next travel video. Have a good one.